everybody, and welcome to the OZone. Live from Koreatown, it is the Brothers Millers, and we're here to talk to you. Really, we're here to talk to each other about sports and what happened this week. And man, oh man, do we got a lot to cover.
Man, there's a lot of stuff that went down.
You all right over there, brother? You miss kids tearing you up? You choking up about it?
I'm sorry.
I am your host, Omar Miller. I'm here with my brother, Terry Miller. You can find me on Instagram at Omar Benson Miller or at Omar Miller on Twitter. Where can the people find you, T?
Oh, a lot of pressure here. At Icons on Instagram or Twitter.
With a Z.
With a Z.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to cover. We're going to get right into it and get busy. Wow. Did you see what happened in London this weekend?
Of course I saw it, man. They changed the freeway signs. No, that's not what happened.
No, that's not what happened, bro. What happened was a royal rumble of epic proportions amongst gentlemen of a large variety. There was a heavyweight bout out there, the glamour division of boxing.
Big boys.
And man, did you see some thumping going on.
Man.
We want to talk about that fight. We want to talk about the NFL draft. We want to talk about the Clippers. What happened to the Clippers, folks? I had season tickets. I gave them up. For this reason, want to talk about the Major League Baseball and this rash of injuries that seems to be going on out in New York, trying to figure that out as well.
Right.
But as of now, we want to get it on and get started talking about the Anthony Joshua Vladimir Klitschko fight.
The uppercut felt and heard around the world.
It might have been heard in galaxies far away.
Like, wow.
Rock'em sock'em with the uppercut.
Serious bobblehead work going on there.
Oh, my God.
I hate to see the champ going out like that.
Oh, man, it hurt my feelings. But he's a champ. Nobody lost in that fight.
Nobody lost.
Even though
everything happened that was supposed to happen, basically.
You gave an excellent analysis of the fight before the fight, and it played out. Now, I lost a couple dollars on the fight, ladies and gentlemen.
You went that way.
I went that route.
Why you didn't listen?
Because I had a feeling the champ still had something left in his tank, and he did. He messed up. All right, let's give a recap. I'm pretty sure everybody listened to this, watched the fight to some degree, but we'll go over the quick thing, and then I just want to get into the what's happening inside of the blow-by-blow over there. First 4 rounds, everybody's kind of cagey, feeling each other out. A lot of boxing, a lot of feints, a lot of, jabs. Although Joshua established the jab.
I don't feel like they were feeling each other out. I felt like Joshua came out in the first round and threw a couple of combinations. They weren't throwing combinations, though. That was the problem. They were
not throwing combinations.
Just popping the jab and try to hit you with a couple of haymakers.
And, you could see the rust on Dr. K at the beginning. Like he was, what I mean?
No, I don't agree because
I thought there was some ring rust.
And I felt one of the things that really hurt him was that he came out dancing. Okay, that would have been great for the younger fighter, but not for the older fighter. The older fighter needed to conserve his energy, and he did not. What he did was come out dancing, which I love to see.
Man, he was on his toes. He was on his toes. Look light on his toes. Little Fred Astaire on you.
But the problem is that catches up with you in the ladder.
But see, I don't think that's what caught up to him. I thought what caught up to him was a devastating uppercut by the most fit man known to mankind. But let's just talk about Anthony Joshua's physique for a second.
Stud.
This dude looked like a statue. This guy was in shape like I can't even explain.
So who you going with, him or Cam Newton?
I got to go with Anthony Joshua.
Really?
I'm a victim of the moment.
Him or LeBron?
I'm going with Anthony Joshua.
Wow.
6'7", 250. And because he's got the bulk and he's light. He came in the ring looking enormous.
He was like 270.
He had to be at least 270.
He was 270 when he came in that ring.
Listen, I hang out with one of the most fit people on the planet, Mr. Dwayne Johnson. And I feel like with the way he came in the ring, he would have made Dwayne have to hit the gym immediately because Dwayne is competitive like that.
He had to get it in.
He had to go get his in real quick and swell up.
Try to teach you a lesson.
But I couldn't believe the conditioning, and it serviced him well. Once again, we saw a situation where the extra weight helped this guy because I believe that in the 5th round, he came out and it was, I couldn't really hear where I was watching, I couldn't really hear the fight, but it seemed like his corner told him, hey man, stop messing around and go get this old man. And he came out in the 5th round ferocious. And that's after Klitschko started the 3rd and the 4th round with stiff 1-2s. Like as soon as the bell rang, he came out and said, hey, wake up, kid.
But you noticed that Joshua made the adjustments because what he did do is that he knew that Klitschko had came out those previous 2 rounds like that. So what he did was that I'm going to answer him this round. I'm going to come out and drop some bombs.
I'm coming out aggressive. And boy, oh boy.
And Klitschko was like, wow.
He came out aggressive. It was an onslaught. There was nothing he could do. It looked like he was going to get killed.
Took the big man down.
This is the first time I've ever seen. Now, with Tyson Fury, there looked like there was something wrong with Vladimir Klitschko, like maybe on a personal level or something. He didn't seem like mentally he was there for the fight.
Woman problems or something.
Something. Hey, woman. He seemed like he wasn't all focused. He was focused on this fight, and even in the post-game interviews, the post-fight interviews, there's so much I want to cover with this. In the post-fight, he even said, they asked him afterwards, they were like, in the presser, they were like, so did you have an off night? He said, no, I didn't have an off night. He goes, the best guy won tonight. He said, I had a great day. He goes, I was in great shape. I felt great.
He looked great.
He looked great. He was in crazy shape.
Yeah, he was in crazy shape. I can honestly say he was just about, if not,
they were almost identical. It's just that Joshua had youth and more bulk.
Right.
And whatever natural growth hormone and testosterone you have when you're 27 versus when you're 41, that was the difference in, you know what I mean?
Right.
In that size. But so he came out with that onslaught in the 5th, and I felt like Klitschko did something that far too many fighters don't do. He got rocked, and then he almost willingly went down to compose himself.
Right.
And if he would have stayed on his feet, he would have been out on his feet in the 5th. And he got rocked, he held, and then he was like, oh, shoot. He's down. Joshua goes into a celebration because he thinks the fight is over. And this is when this became the best heavyweight fight of the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Is because Vladimir Klitschko got up and showed you the heart of a champion. This dude got up and chunked him. I wouldn't have been surprised if they didn't score that a 10-9 round.
Well, one of the refs did score the 10-9 round.
He came back and almost knocked him out.
And you have to give it to him. It was a 10-9. I haven't seen anything like that since Holyfield Bowe.
I agree.
Yeah, when Holyfield got dropped and he got up and really went at it with Red.
It's giving me chills even. It's giving me chills even. That's unbelievable work.
And it was unbelievable, just like what the champ did on Saturday night.
Unbelievable.
That was unbelievable.
I mean, he popped up.
It's not unbelievable though, because that's why he's been the champ for a long time too. And we disrespect him as the champ, I feel like it, because he doesn't get his just
him and his brother.
Yeah, him and his brother. They were great champs.
I think once again, this is another example of some reverse racism.
Yeah, I completely agree.
These fellas don't get the respect that they deserve because they're white.
Yeah,
I really believe that.
And I feel like they could fought in any era.
Especially his brother.
Yeah, especially his brother.
I mean, I don't think Vladimir takes a punch as well as Vitaly does, but honestly, he took some punches on Saturday night that I couldn't believe his neck was still attached.
Right.
This kid is dropping. This kid looked like, honest to God, he looked like he hits as hard as, say, a George Foreman type. He didn't look like nobody hits as hard as George Foreman himself, except for Ernie Shavers and Joe Louis.
Right.
But he looks like he has that kind of potential to have that sort of leverage on his punches, because you see when he lands, this kid lands.
It's lights out.
I mean, it's a big deal.
But that's why he's walking through people right now. But he's going to, have to get his skills polished a little bit more.
But his skills are
extraordinary. Your skills are extraordinary.
Shout out to Bruce Lee.
And the Enter the Dragon.
And Enter the Dragon. Always made me want to go to Hong Kong, ladies and gentlemen, that movie.
Oh, right?
But then this is where I think things went right and left for Klitschko. Because in the 6th round, I mean, he hit him like a Mack truck with that 1-2. I do boxing training, and so much of it is technical on trying to get leverage and so on and so forth.
You know what, though? I'm going to go back on that, because his punch, he dove into that punch. He wasn't off of his back foot. He was literally like,
no, he's leaning forward this is because Joshua had that linked on him. He had a hard time measuring Joshua.
And it looked like he fell for a feint, maybe. I don't remember exactly.
Joshua?
Yeah, Joshua.
No, you know what? I mean, it was beautiful.
And he led with that right, and Joshua, he snapped
He didn't lead with the right. He didn't lead with the right. It was a 1-2.
Oh, he snapped his neck, and then he found out that his power bill hadn't been paid.
And he got
damn, I got disconnected.
Wait a minute.
I thought I paid. No, you know what? I got an extension. I didn't pay.
I didn't even pay.
Got an extension.
Maybe they'll let me pay later this month.
But then he showed the heart of a champion, because he didn't jump up.
And he stayed down. I didn't think he was getting up.
Oh, really?
And then he got up. And then, you know what? He was in trouble. And this is where Vladimir Klitschko messed up. And this is where, after we spoke that night, I want you to make that point that you made. Because the old Klitschko, which is the young Klitschko, with Emmanuel Stewart there in this corner, gets him out of there right then. He was ready to go.
Finish him off.
Get that boy out of here.
Get him out of here. Right hand, upper hand, uppercut.
Left hand, overhand.
Left hand cross.
Get him. And
he couldn't close him out.
he couldn't close
But
the
you know
show.
what? He had expended a lot of energy, and this is the problem with being a little bit older because he wanted to execute, but he couldn't. After that, the 6th round, I know that everybody was dealing with their heart, saying that they wanted this guy to be able to beat this kid.
Oh, no, he was ready to go.
He was ready to go. For the next 2 rounds, he was ready to go.
2 rounds.
The next 2 rounds, he was ready to go.
And then he let that 27-year-old come back.
And you could see it in his eyes.
You
And
could see it.
Joshua's eyes. Joshua was like, okay. And he started talking to him like, nuh-uh, you're not taking my belts. Let's go. Let's go. And they started going
Oh, my
at it.
God, they start going at it.
But
I'm so pumped up about this fight.
Klitschko put on a clinic.
He put
in the middle round, he put on a clinic.
After he got knocked down, it's like it shook. You see it in boxing so often. When the great fighters get hit, they wake up. And they're like, wait a minute.
I came here to fight.
I love this.
This felt great.
After the fight, you listen to both of these guys talk, especially Vladimir Klitschko, and he's like, I loved it. It was a great fight. Like, dude, this guy almost took off your neck.
He almost killed him.
And he was like, I loved it. It was a great fight. A lot of respect and love to Joshua. These guys love to fight.
But this is what makes great champions, because if you don't like the fight, if you don't the fight,
you have to love the fight.
You have to love the fight to be like the best. Now everybody's reflecting on Floyd's past, fights and saying, well, you know what? We didn't really get this out of him.
Didn't get this. You never got this.
Yeah, you never got. And you know what's great about this fight as well is that we watched 2 great boxers get off the mat.
Get off. This is what being a champ is about.
And this is what it's all about. I got knocked down, not because I never got knocked down before,
No.
but what happens when you get knocked down and get back up?
Do you have the heart to get up?
Do you have the get up?
Because that's about the heart. That's that Rocky Balboa.
That Rocky Balboa.
So he gets up, puts on a clinic for 7, 8, 9, and then you could see the tide turn again. Joshua started to throw combinations.
Start popping a jab again.
That
establish
damn
it.
Jab. Damn you, jab.
It's the root of all evil.
Man,
in the ring.
in the words of Florida Evans, damn. That jab.
Real.
It was so real, and then we saw that Rock'em Sock'em, and I just hated to see the champ.
The combination that he threw to get into the Rock'em Sock'em.
Oh, my God.
Because it looked like he's been waiting for that opportunity the whole
Body,
fight.
head, body, uppercut.
And he just flew open like somebody took out a 12 gauge.
Oh, my God.
And you know what? I just felt
I've
so
watched it
bad
probably
for him.
100 times.
Yeah, I love the Klitschkos.
Yeah.
But just to watch him roll around the ring like that and getting beat like that was terrible. If it was you, dude, I would have threw in a towel.
I know it. And his brother afterwards.
Although I don't know if you would have pissed me off that night. I'd been like, let him go. Run him back. Get up. You baby.
Oh, help me.
You're good.
It's messed up. Yeah, so when you look at it afterwards, to me, the most beautiful thing, one of the most beautiful things in the world happened, and I feel like this because I have brothers. From the moment that Vladimir Klitschko gets knocked out, they get him up, he gets back over to the stool. I don't know if Vitaly took his hand off of his shoulder. He literally was touching him like almost the next 10, 15 minutes through the speeches and everything. He just had his hand on his shoulder. That was his big brother. He just had his hand on his shoulder, and he looked so mad.
Like, I should have never stopped fighting.
He looked so mad. He looked like he wanted to fight so bad.
Probably did. You know how the juices are flowing.
Oh, my God.
Like,
Are you crazy? This dude just beat up my brother? Are you kidding
get
me?
in there. Both of us are getting.
Let's get him. And you'd have to, both of them would need to get him because this kid is a stud. And the other thing is we're going to play a clip. At one point, we got a call we want to cut to. This kid has learned so much in this fight.
Right now, he just learned so much. He just got a complete college course.
He got a graduate degree.
Yeah,
he got a master's
master's
in the sweet science.
And Klitschko did so much for him by putting him on his back.
He sure did.
He taught him.
He might have made him an all-time great by knocking him down in the sixth.
Yes, we'll see how the kid reacts after this. Because for me, this Tyson Fury talk is madness.
It's literal madness. Tyson Fury isn't psychologically fit to fight as per his doctor.
Right.
So let alone for that. And even if he does fight, man, Tyson Fury can't thump with this. I don't believe he could thump with Klitschko if Klitschko was focused.
I don't believe he can thump with his brother, and his brother haven't fought in years.
Yeah, and let alone really a guy like Deontay Wilder would really give a Tyson Fury a really bad day,
right?
Because he would go in with no respect,
right,
and go in and get this thing over with.
Put him on his back.
Because when you see a big guy that doesn't have any thump, it's not
it's not natural.
It's not natural because it's like the giant pitcher that doesn't have a fastball.
Right.
Let's cut to our caller real quick. Ellie Sec back, live on the line on the Ozone.
Hey, Ellie.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, man, I'm still hyped up by this weekend. I mean, I saw some posts of yours. You caught a lot of wreck on your page from people from talking about Klitschko versus Fury versus Klitschko versus Joshua. I heard a lot of people clapping the wrong way at you. I know you wear that so well, but tell me, how did you personally feel about the fight this weekend?
Oh, amazing. Good for boxing. Huge for the sport.
Huge for the sport.
And the fight actually, which leads me to the fight this weekend of Canelo Chavez, is two back-to-back major events. First of all, it was an exciting fight because if Joshua would have destroyed Klitschko, we would have said Klitschko's finished.
Absolutely.
If Klitschko destroys Joshua, we say, oh, he wasn't ready. He's hype job. So it was so close. It's always good to see fighters go at it.
I mean, and they fought.
Yeah, and they fought.
And they boxed, though. That's the thing. It wasn't just a slugfest because there was jabs being thrown and ultimately combinations ruled the day. I felt like Vladimir just didn't have that final gear, and I felt like that was an age-related thing.
Yeah, and I feel like he is finished.
I think he is, and he should be finished.
Yeah, he should be finished. He has nothing else
you
to
have
prove.
nothing to prove. You were the champ
been a
forever,
great champ.
and you've been a great champ, and you're just
class act, too.
a class act. I mean, that speech that he gave afterwards, we need more classy guys in boxing. I really believe that. Really, really believe that. So
it's one of those things where, look, for Klitschko, you could see in his eyes that he was shocked. He was upset, but he kept it classy. He was
shocked that he lost. He really believed that you know what I mean? It's the kind of thing where you think he might have bet on himself.
He may have. The way he looked, his response.
Now, I talked to you before the fight, and you had brought up the fact that Joshua had been in his camp for sparring and so on and so forth. I saw some videos afterwards of the fellas in the post-fight. It was pretty impressive. But I wanted to get your take potentially on where do you think it goes from here? Because I think, just like you said, that was a great event for boxing. The heavyweights are the glamour division because the big boys can get the fight over with one punch, unlike the little guys who, no matter how hard you hit, it takes a long time to get guys out of there. Now we got the big fight coming up this weekend with Chavez versus Canelo. And what do you think happens now with the course of heavyweights? I mean, I personally don't think Tyson Fury comes back anytime soon. I think Deontay Wilder goes and he beats up on Joseph Parker, but I don't actually think we see Joshua Wilder until 18. I feel like Klitschko's going to exercise that rematch clause, which I hope someone talks him out of.
Oh, I hope he doesn't do that.
I think you're very accurate. I think Wilder will try to. This is the thing: when you're the champion, you have one or two or three tune-up fights or voluntary defenses. So if Joshua goes and fights three other fighters, he could fight Gerald Washington, he could fight B.Y. Jennings.
Yep.
These American guys who have fought up there.
King Kong Ortiz.
In the U.S. Yeah, King Kong. Well, that's a very dangerous fight, but yes, he can do that.
I think he'd beat the crap out of Ortiz.
Yeah, I do too.
Ortiz, he takes too long to get bums out of there. Yeah. I don't like that.
Too long.
Yeah, that's true, but he's still very, very dangerous. Now, Wilder, he wants to fight Parker. Parker has a fight with Razvan. He's a fighter from Romania. He's actually a sparring partner because Tyson Fury's brother, the fight fell through, so he just needs a body. So Parker will fight Joshua, and then, sorry, Craig.
Parker will fight Wilder.
Will fight
I know
Wilder.
what you mean.
Yeah, and Wilder builds up his hype, and then Joshua builds up his thing, and this is what Wilder told me. Me and Joshua can make Floyd-like money, and I agree with him.
I agree with him, too. This big money we're talking about.
In the big division, the heavyweight.
In the big division.
Yeah, so why rush it? Because for both of them, it's a win-win situation. They just have to keep winning and winning convincingly, and this fight becomes 150,000 fans, not 90,000.
It becomes a stadium.
Yeah, but I feel like that's why you would rush it, because when you deal with the big boys, people get knocked out.
Somebody could get put to sleep.
And then you mess up all the money.
That's true, but you also want to take a risk because you're going in for the whole, the whole piggy bank. You don't want to just get fractions because they're making money. They're making $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $5 million, but they could fight for 25, 50, 75, $100 million if the fight gets that big. And right now, maybe too early, but yes, I think they will fight in 2018. 1 year from now, perfect.
1 year from now, perfect.
This was good for the heavyweight division because, as we know, the heavyweight division has been hurting. That's the only division in boxing that no one was interested in.
The guys look like me. The guys won't get in shape. What's going on out here? They're paying you to get in shape. The guys won't get in shape.
And they won't do it.
But we saw who did it this weekend.
Both of them.
These boys.
And they look great.
Are you crazy? And that's Murder is serious about his conditioning as well. Deontay Wilder is serious about being in shape.
Yeah, but he looked terrible his last fight. I didn't like him struggling against that
No,
bum.
but we're not talking about that. We're talking about how he looked physically.
Yeah, he did look good physically.
Well, here's what's interesting about this fight this weekend. To me, it's the biggest fight this year. Yes, it's two Mexican guys fighting, but they both have insane following. Everyone knows Chavez Sr., so they know Chavez Jr. They love him, whether for him or for his dad. Canelo, Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya has done a great job in building him into a pay-per-view superstar. Very few pay-per-view superstars in the world today. Canelo is one of them.
Right.
If the fight ends very close and one guy loses close decision, there's a rematch automatic. And the rematch will be bigger than this one. Someone gets knocked out ugly early, it doesn't matter which, I don't think they'll do a rematch. I think they'll go in different directions.
Right.
But it's so intriguing because I don't know who's going to win.
You know what? It's amazing you say that because this is the same thing my brother's been saying for months now. Mm-hmm. He said, you know what? We got pride on the line. We got the Mexican flag on the line. And we have Chavez Sr. riding his son. Now, you've been in both camps. Bless us with some sort of exclusive. Have you spoken to Chavez? Have you spoken to Canelo? Tell me something that before it hits ES News, before it hits the wire, brother. Tell me, Ellie.
Okay. For Chavez, this is personal. All the other fights, he did it because he's a boxing head. He loves boxing and he likes to fight. But now it's business. Now it's for him because he wanted to fight Canelo for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
And there's animosity between the two of them because they're both sharing the same shine. They're both from the same country where the sport is huge. And there's always that competitive where who do you like, this guy or that guy? It's always been like that. You have to pick one.
Right, you can't like them both.
Either Michael Jackson or Prince. You can't like both. You got to pick you know, like when they have those rivalry, like Biggie or Tupac.
Right.
We can like both of them now, but in the moment, people like to
pick you had to take sides.
You got to take sides. Now, Canelo's very motivated. He's excited. He doesn't have to lose that weight. It's a good opportunity for him because if he wins, he establishes himself as the king of Mexico. Chavez, if he wins, he redeems himself. He makes himself relevant. He beat a guy that BoxRec right now has #1 pound-for-pound king. If you look on BoxRec, Canelo's rated #1 in the world. So it elevates him from every aspect. It's like a redemption for every bad thing he ever did in his life. A good win makes everything bad go away. So being in the camp with Chavez, when they went on the tour, cross country, they started in Mexico, then LA, New York. Actually, it was New York, then LA. Chavez was training nonstop, which most fighters on the road, they say, okay, I'll start training camp next week. When they stopped in LA, I was with him at the gym. So he's been taking it very seriously. He hasn't missed a beat.
How's his weight look?
He looks skinny, but he usually walks around 190, 200. So right now he's 5 pounds away. So if he lost it the right way, he didn't lose it in one day, which sometimes people do, and they shoot up 30 pounds, and that's when you look like a mummy, when you can't move. So he lost it the right way, gradually let his body adapt. Obviously, they're both going to shoot up on fight night. They'll each weigh 185, around there, 180. Canelo, he's ready. He's motivated. So it's very interesting to see how he's going to play. What kind of fight will we see? Will we see two guys boxing? Will we see a brawl? Will we see a hug fest? I don't know.
Think you're going to see a little bit of a brawl?
I don't think Chavez is interested in boxing.
No.
I think Chavez is interested in mixing it up and making it dirty and getting it. And I think it's just what Ellie said. I think it's personal. I think it's personal for Canelo because he has something to prove to his countrymen, but also he has his eye on Canelo's not slow, man. He has his eye on everybody talking about Gennady. Everybody talks about Triple G, and by and large, at this point, everybody is saying that he's scared to fight Triple G. So he needs a convincing win against Chavez. I just hope that he's not overlooking the fact that the guy he's fighting is actually bigger than him.
Yeah, I'm taking Chavez.
Wow.
Chavez has a great chin. And he could box. He just chose in the past when to step it up, look, sometimes the most talented athletes, they take it for given, and they don't try as hard. But this time he's trying.
Yeah.
Canelo's done a phenomenal job until this point. Every test he's had except Mayweather, and you can't blame him because he was 21 years old.
Yes.
And no one's beating Mayweather. It doesn't matter if they're old or young.
Not at that point.
Yeah, but I heard that tickets are selling for $20,000, and that's huge for boxing.
What did he say? He said tickets are selling for $20,000 for this fight.
I'm not surprised though. You know that you got the pride on the line.
Just Come on, pride. Now. This is it.
And not only that though, will Canelo cut down on those long punches?
And the plotting. They said he's been working on his footwork a lot.
He's a plotter, and I don't think that
But I don't
Chavez
think
is going to let him slide.
I don't think that matters because Chavez is a plotter. So I don't think in this fight.
Then in that case, I got to go with the bigger guy.
That's a good point. But in this fight, I don't think you get exposed for that like you would against a more athletic fighter. And so, Ellie, last wrap up. I know you're a busy man. I appreciate you calling in. With the landscape of what it is now, does this make the spectacle of the Conor McGregor-Mayweather fight fade from the public interest? Because if we get another good fight this weekend, boxing itself is back, in my opinion.
The Conor McGregor-Mayweather fight.
I'm just saying, this is what I'm asking him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Conor McGregor and Mayweather are two very popular names, very big names. And you put them in one sentence, you're going to get everybody's attention. So it's great hype for both fighters to keep them relevant. More for McGregor than Mayweather, because Mayweather's still a promoter and he has so many other things, and he's a pop culture icon. McGregor has been around really only 3 years. I really had never heard about him before, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's been around longer. But to me, it's only been the last 3 years where he kind of got our attention. And he's not fighting now for 10 months, so he needs this hype. But I do think that fight is fading away every week, every month, that we're not hearing about anything going on.
I agree.
It's kind of like...
And the clock is ticking. He's not a young man.
Exactly.
So it's, you know what I mean?
First they talked about June, then they talked about September. But now we're going to talk about when are we going to see Joshua next? When are we going to see the winner of
Canelo
Chavez fight Triple
When are we going to see Keith Thurman? We got this other fight coming up with Kovalev and Ward.
Right.
We got another fight coming up with Earl Spence and Kell Brook.
Yeah.
These are big fights that are going on.
Now, don't forget May 20th, Gervonta Tank Davis.
All of these fights, I don't think Tank is up there with the last people that we, as far as popularity-wise yet, but he has superstar potential, Tank.
No, I'm telling you, this kid, Gervonta Davis, he went from 80,000 followers to 350.
Wow.
And the followers are legit. People like Drake and Meek Mill, like the whole hip-hop culture, follow him and comment and like him.
Yeah, they fool with him.
So he's one or two fights away from really, like,
exploding.
He's only 21.
No.
Everybody.
That's why I just said the superstar potential is there. Yep. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, again, it's McGregor and Mayweather. I haven't heard about it except 2 weeks ago. Someone from McGregor's team said, negotiation going in the right direction.
I couldn't care less.
Like
you don't even need to finish the sentence. I couldn't care less. I'd rather see Tank beat up on Vasyl Lomachenko, personally. But, Ellie, thank you so much for calling in. You are an expert, and you always have access. Just really appreciate it. Tell the people where they can find you.
You can follow me on YouTube at ES News, one word, ES News, and, of course, on Twitter at SecBack. Just Google ES News and you'll find everything. But thanks so much, Big O. I'm really proud of the podcast. It's going leaps and bounds and bigger and better things coming. Hey,
man, thank you, brother. We'll talk to you soon. Are you going to the fight this weekend?
Yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow. Well, I shouldn't say I'm leaving tomorrow. Someone's going to break into my house. But I will be at the fight.
Now you got to leave on Wednesday. Damn it, I just said it. Now you got to leave on Thursday.
Hey, man, just sit this one out, Ellie.
All right, sounds good. Reporting.
Late.
Oh, man. That's funny. Yeah, great feedback and insight from Ellie. It leads us into our next fight, but I just want to talk a little bit more about this heavyweight match. I just can't get enough of it. I'm sorry. It's just I can't believe it. And I wanted to play something that Anthony Joshua, I saw in an interview that Anthony Joshua said after the fight.
What I learned, I had 44 rounds of boxing as a professional before that fight, and now I feel like I've had 144 rounds of boxing because what I took from that fight is rounds upon rounds of experience, and I can move forward now and onto bigger and better things.
Come on, man. That's the real right there. That kid is sharp.
Yeah, he took big punches. I mean, Klitschko laid some hammers on him. He laid some hammers on him that put a lot lesser guys out. Not down,
about
but out.
64 of them.
Yeah. I mean, these are like major bombs that they dropped in this fight. Anytime you see the heavyweights dropping bombs like this, man,
this is punishment.
Hey, man, this is punishment.
And he even said it. You can see he's got a shiner. He's pretty beat up himself. And he said, but one thing he said in that interview,
he's proud of his shiner too. I've seen pictures.
That's what he said.
Hey, let's go.
He said, you know, other than the black eye, you know, other than the swollen eye, I feel pretty good inside, you know. And that's what he was talking about, his internal organs bouncing back I think this is the upside of the guys only fighting maybe 2 times a year now.
Now I can understand that with the heavyweights,
no doubt about it.
But Klitschko didn't do a lot of body work. He stuck with his jab. He popped his jab, which looked great, and then he went to work the way that he went. to work.
It was classic. It was a clinic.
Tactician.
It was until the Rock'em Sock'em showed up. He just didn't have enough. Really, I just thank both of these fellas for a great fight.
Right.
And I'm tempted to play the post-fight interview, the speech, because both of them were so classy, these guys.
Yeah.
I really couldn't believe how much of a class act
awesome.
in comparison to the buffoonery that we see usually after a fight.
Yeah.
You win the fight and you're still talking crazy to people.
You just won, dude. What are you doing?
You won. What else do you need, man? You did it. You won the fight.
Now you want to emasculate me.
Yeah, now you talk about taking somebody's woman and all this kind of ridiculous stuff. No, that's not what the sport is
Throwing
about.
money around and everything else.
This sport is about what's happening inside of this squared circle.
Yeah.
And when he gets
science.
it's a beautiful thing when done properly. And
it was done properly this weekend.
It sure was. And I commend.
Kudos.
Yeah.
They did a great job with that, man. That was, oh man.
Showtime and HBO. That was a joint production. That's what it was. Yeah, this is what's so beautiful about this is
I know that.
It's a joint production. And ultimately, the networks, the camps, everybody work together to give the fans what we want. And we've got to give the people, give them what they want. And that's what it is. They gave us what we wanted, and I'm buzzing. Then the crazy thing is they gave it to us on a subscription tip. That wasn't even pay-per-view.
Right.
I would have paid for that fight.
Everybody should pay for that fight.
Come on, man.
It was good money.
It's good money. So now, really, the pressure is on Chavez and Canelo.
I don't think you're going to be let down because we haven't had a bad fight really this year, have we?
No, there's been some great fights this year. From DeGale and Badu Jack to Thurman and Garcia to this last weekend.
Triple G.
Just forget about it. Triple G and Danny Jacobs to Chocolatito and the Thai homie, Rizvizgu. Rizvingzai. Damn, I hate not being able to say people's names. But there's a lot of great stuff on the horizon for boxing, and I'm happy that we're covering it now. It inspires me to want to get out to more matches, and it just good work, fellas. Really, really good work. You know what else is good work?
What?
The $65 you'll spend to join the 5-4 Club. Ladies and gentlemen, did you know that for $65 a month, you can get a personally stylized and tailored wardrobe delivered to your home? Yes, folks. Go to 54club.com, use promo code Omar, and you will see the fruits of your labor manifest as a beautiful wardrobe for summer, spring, winter, and fall. 54 Club, life and style. Oh, man. Now we got to talk about the bad stuff.
Which is?
The Clippers.
Mortimer?
The Clippers. Oh, my goodness.
What's bad about it? We've already established this early in the season, what you were about to get.
I mean, I just didn't want to believe.
I know you didn't. I've been telling you that. It's just,
I thought they'd get out of this round without Blake Griffin. I really thought that was going to help them.
If they don't dismantle this team,
and they're talking stupid about re-signing everybody.
I know, but either Doc has to go or some of these players have to go. They said J.J. Redick is probably gone. But either Doc has to go or they have to break this down. They need to break it down.
Oh,
hey, get him! Break it down. Hey, get him!
But see, this is the thing: is I don't know if J.J. Redick is the key to this.
No, J.J. Redick is not the problem.
J.J. Redick is not the reason that you
obviously
keep blowing leads 5 years in a row.
Chemistry is the problem.
Chemistry is the problem. I can't even front and fake it anymore.
Thank you.
If I wanted to.
Thank you.
I mean, I said it before. I agreed before when watching the games. But this situation now, not only do you lose, you get blown out at home in a Game 7. Blown out. I mean, that game wasn't even close for the most part.
They did. They put it on them. But
they were going to be sacrificial lambs for Golden State anyways, because they've shown that already that they aren't mentally prepared to deal with Golden State. But you're not even mentally prepared to deal with the Utah Jazz.
Utah is real, though.
Yeah, they got all the elements.
That team is not a team. They're a team just in name.
I agree.
But something
is wrong.
Something's not clicking. And either you're going to have to, something has to go.
And it's something has to change.
Somebody or something has to go. And Ballmer has to make that big decision now on who's going to leave or who's going to do what.
Right.
Not Doc Rivers, the president of operations, but Ballmer, the owner.
Right. And it's going the wrong way. And I don't know. Man, and you know what? You feel like it's almost like they have too much loyalty to the squad. And I understand, I get it. They've assembled a team that on paper looks incredible, but it doesn't execute what you need to do. You can't charge what they charge to be a Clippers fan at the Staples Center and not get out of the first round.
Every year.
Every year. Or then you tease. You wanted to tease, you would go down to the Spearmint Rhino. Then you tease by going up 3-1 and trying to get to the conference championship, and then you fall apart there. This is amazing. 5 years in a row, they've been up in the series, and they fall apart. 2-0, 2-1, 3-0,
so
3-1.
Could we consider that a classic Clipper?
I think that we can call it. You know what the bad part is I don't think that that's like a revelation. We like to believe that they had turned the corner. You know what I mean? As far as the Clippers being from LA, the Clippers were always the little brother to the Lakers, and they were always considered to be losers. But now it seemed like they got Chris Paul, they got this young kid Blake Griffin. It's exciting. Lob City. Oh, they got DeAndre Jordan. They got JJ Redick. He's a lights out shooter. Austin Rivers shows up out of nowhere and he can really go. Bob Moute can ball. He just doesn't get to play enough. Then you get Mo buckets. You're like, oh, okay, they got it together.
I never bought in.
I know you didn't. We could run the tape back. You never brought in.
Bought in.
You are Debbie Downer. I was an optimistic fan, and you decided to take the reality TV approach.
I did. I went to the alternative space.
You went snackable, and it was tough, man. It's really unfortunate that they're gone. But now, what do you think about the remaining teams? I think that the most interesting series
in the West or the East.
I think in all of the dance, I think the most interesting series is this Rockets versus San Antonio series.
Yeah, I really don't think so. Only because I don't think that there's any high drama building because the Spurs are going to beat the Rockets. James Harden is not going to run amok, and if he does run amok, it'll just be him who's running amok.
Let's see what the caller has to say about it.
What's up, OZone?
Next victim, live on the OZone. What up, homeboy? Man, we're over here. We just talked about that Rock'em Sock'em robot. It was devastating. I'm still buzzing by the fight, but what I want to talk to you about is basketball. Now, the Clippers are talking about re-signing everybody, which to us makes no logic because obviously they have a chemistry problem. What's your take on the Clippers, and what's your take on what remains in the playoffs now? Because there's a couple interesting series out there.
Man, Clippers got me hot.
They got you weak, right?
Their whole team need to get heart transplants because you are not supposed to get blown out. You are not supposed to get blown out in those 7-game series in the 7th game. So they nasty. If they want to resign them, it's going to be the same outcome. They're going to be out in the first round because all these teams are getting younger, getting better, and the Clippers just don't have it. They don't have it. They put too much pressure on Blake Griffin. On CP3.
Put a lot of pressure on CP3.
Effort on DeAndre Jordan, which CP3 is used to playing with dudes that want to do the pick and roll and lob, but it's the recipe of disaster. It doesn't work in the playoffs.
It doesn't work.
DeAndre Jordan can't make free throws. You're making Eddie Mill tickets. I mean, damn, you got to be able to make some free throws. You're shooting the worst free throw percentage in the league.
Now, it's funny because me personally, come on, man, I hear you. The problem I got is he's the person I'm least mad at is DeAndre Jordan. And I feel like when he's included in the offense more and not just out there running sprints to rebound broke jumpers is when they play the best. The team has to do something different. I believe in Austin Rivers. Actually, if I go over the roster, I think I believe in everybody on an individual level. The chemistry isn't there.
No.
And they got to do something. They got to trade somebody. I don't know if it's Griffin straight up for Paul George. I don't know if it's, I don't know who it is.
Yeah, but you're talking about, at that point, 4 or 5 superstars. How many pieces do you need? They have a dominant big man.
They need 3. Each team usually go with 2 or 3.
Yeah. They have 3.
You need 3.
Well, they have 2.
You need 3 all-stars.
Who don't they have?
You need 3 potential all-stars on the
Chris
team.
Paul.
Not necessarily superstars, but all-stars.
This goes back to the age-old debate with him calling everybody a superstar, but I agree.
You have Chris Paul, you have Blake Griffin, and you have DeAndre Jordan. You don't have 3 superstars?
DeAndre Jordan's not a superstar.
Oh, well, he averages a double-double and a dominant double-double. Right?
Superstars are guys like Steph Curry, LeBron James. These are superstars. DeAndre Jordan's a star. There's no doubt about it. And
He's an all-star.
He is an all-star. I agree. But a superstar is a whole nother thing.
How many All-Stars do you need on the team?
I agree. Listen, I'm not fighting you on that.
You guys trying to jump ship with the Clippers now. I told you, next victim, long time ago, quit sinking your emotions into a team like that. Now you're paying the price.
Right, you did. You absolutely did. But what's your point? You did it. Okay, now what? They're nasty.
Just want to hear you say it. Just want to hear you say it.
You get rid of Blake Griffin. You get rid of Jamal Crawford. You need people with some toughness. All these dudes is just, they suck. They ain't got no heart.
Now, see, I'm not mad at Molly. I think Jamal's he's at the end of his career. He just looks really, really young.
Right.
But Jamal is giving you great work for somebody. For somebody 37, 36, 37.
I believe that you start with getting rid of Doc Rivers and Chris Paul, and you get rid of them.
You think you get rid of Chris Paul?
Yeah, and you let Austin Rivers take over, and then you bring in a couple other people. Let Austin Rivers develop.
So you want to build around Blake, DeAndre, and Austin Rivers?
Yeah, because you're talking about starting out young. That Austin Rivers is young, and Chris Paul can go to a situation like maybe Chicago or something like that, where he can actually play with a couple of. No, you don't. What do you see?
No, that's nasty. You keep Chris Paul here, you bring somebody like PG-13 to fill in. He's tough.
PG-13.
He's inside. He's outside.
He's got crazy heart.
The ball is not going to stick, and he's young enough to go. Blake Griffin is not young enough. If you got a Blake Griffin, the toughest dude on that team is CP3 and Mo Space. Mo Space didn't get enough burn this series, unfortunately, because Utah was just running up and down the court hella fast.
Yeah.
What's his name couldn't get enough touches in, J.J. Redick, because the defense was too good. So now with DeAndre Jordan, who gets no plays run for him, the defense is guarding 4. Come on, man.
But Chris Paul,
and nobody could guard ISO Joe for some apparent reason.
Old ISO Joe is still giving work. It's unbelievable.
He's always giving work, and he's not going to stop.
I would have started Paul Pierce against ISO Joe. I would have had him play a lot more. Think about it. They played together before. The truth has given ISO Joe plenty of business when he was in the Eastern Conference.
But
so
the truth
you put Paul Pierce on him.
He doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah, Paul Pierce needed to retire.
Paul Pierce needs to retire. He doesn't have it anymore. He can't give you that many minutes. You know, and I'm talking about when you talk about getting rid of Chris Paul, I'm talking about getting younger. And because Chris Paul is 31 right now, and Austin Rivers is a lot younger than he is. And so you're talking about starting fresh, because obviously what they're doing right now is not working. So either you
trying to make the Clippers instead of Lakers and talking about starting over. The Clippers.
No, I said Austin Rivers. I said Austin Rivers and get rid of CP3.
You can't get rid of. So you rather go with no All-Stars on the team, only one?
I just said get rid of Chris Paul. I didn't say Blake Griffin or DeAndre Jordan.
And, you know, where I disagree is I personally feel like you work with Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan. I think that
and
because
build around that.
Yeah, because I don't know if Blake got hurt, like if he never recovered from the injury, or if he's just not like a guy that wants to, if it's the city, you know, with the pressure or something like that. Thing is that it's such an interesting, you know, I'm torn about it, because when you look at Blake's numbers are legit.
Real.
I mean, his numbers are really like 26 and 12 or something like that. He's giving you real numbers. But they just don't work in this configuration. So I think we're going to have to wait and see what happens in free agency to see what and where, you know, people land.
Right. Well, I really believe
but something's got to happen, obviously.
Something has to happen where Blake needs to either get more in shape. He needs to stop flopping his body into people. I think that the injury that he had was more severe than what they released.
Now, are you talking about this toe injury, or are you talking about previous injuries?
The toe. You can get your foot. You can get your toe. Give me the shot. Give me the juice, Doc. I need some juice. You got football players that's running 100 yards up and down the field, and they get that cortisone shot, and they're ready to go for 60 minutes.
Okay,
but that's a different situation. When you talk about football players, they got padding and wrap and everything that they put on their feet.
They ain't got no padding and no wrapping on that big toe.
They wrap the whole cleat in tape, but you can't do that on the basketball court.
Why?
because they tape the bottom of their cleat as well. He has to run. He has to be able to spring off of that thing.
So
I feel like his injury was real. I don't think that he bowed out. I just don't feel like every year everybody's giving them an excuse because one of them gets hurt. Well, every other team has the potential to get hurt. We saw that happen to Kyrie. I mean, come on. We saw it happen to Kevin Love. It's just a part of the game. The thing of it is that even if Blake Griffin played, they weren't going to win. That's the problem. And we've
he could have been out there
5 years now.
I can't roll with you, Tim.
5 years.
Next victim, I can't roll with you. I have to go with the Icons on this one. Even with that, they lost that first game with no Rudy Gobert with their whole team except for Austin Rivers. I mean, the injuries are a part of the game.
Yes.
And not that, I want to believe in the Clippers, but for some reason, this iteration of them just doesn't work. Now, what I wonder is DeAndre Jordan happy that he stayed, or does he wish that he would have just stayed in Texas and, with his family and made it happen like they originally started to? What do you think about that?
I think he's happy he stayed. Unfortunately, like you bums mentioned that, injuries do happen. But, he got the playoff experience, he got the contract. Hey, he got the LA commercials and the lifestyle.
He sure does. So that usually makes a guy happy. Now give me this.
Yeah.
What do you see happening in the San Antonio-Houston series? I'm really intrigued by the series. Terry seems to think that it's a foregone conclusion that San Antonio beats Houston.
I thought about this morning, and I don't know.
I don't either.
I want to say Houston, but I don't believe in their coach. And I believe in Pop, and I believe in the best player in the game as of right now today,
Kawhi Leonard is.
All right, you guys are on narcotics. Kawhi is nice, but he's not better than LeBron James.
I said as of right now, I believe that he is because, and I explained this to some nasty fools today. When LeBron decides he has to turn it on, he turns it on. When LeBron shoots a jumper, it's like, why did he shoot that? When Kawhi shoots that jumper, you like, oh, that's good.
Well, that's an interesting take. Kawhi, I don't know if that's the way to justify thinking he's the best player in the game by how they feel when they shoot a jumper, but
that's one thing.
For me, Kawhi Leonard is as good as anybody, including LeBron James. And it's almost impossible to say somebody is better than LeBron James because of what you just said. The idea that LeBron can turn it on at any given point, and he has figured out the game so thoroughly that he knows when to turn it on and when not to turn it on. Now, in real life, I think LeBron has a lot more help than Kawhi Leonard does. And what Kawhi Leonard is doing down there is incredible down in San Antonio. He plays both sides of the ball.
But this is why I don't understand why people think that Houston's going to have a chance, because we've sat courtside and watched Nene plays defense. Everybody else is suspect.
But that's the difference, is that this year they have Nene, and then that changes.
You have Gasol. You have Aldridge.
You know who else plays different defense?
And Kawhi.
Trevor Ariza. Don't discount Trevor Ariza. Trevor Ariza
is on the other side of his career, though.
No, this is why they play the game. And I don't know why you were shaking your head when you said that Kawhi has less help than LeBron. You think that the San Antonio Spurs supporting staff is better than the Cleveland Cavaliers?
No, it's not.
But it's just
still, don't act like LaMarcus Aldridge and Paul Gasol are not anybody.
No chance. Now, Paul Gasol is on the other side of his career.
And you're probably going to have two Hall of Famers as well playing in that game.
You will. And Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're definitely on the other side of the career. If you look at those three guys, you look at Gasol, Ginobili, and Parker, those guys are literally 2 years away from retirement, maybe.
You can give them one.
Maybe even, that's what I'm saying. Maybe max two. So it's not like we're talking about the same guys that ran off those 5 championships with Kobe and Shaq.
Right.
But either way it goes, that's not even the debate that I'm even interested in. I'm just interested to see, to me, this version of a D'Antoni squad has the best chance of actually making some noise out of any D'Antoni squad that I've ever seen.
I think there would be a better competition for the Golden State Warriors.
I agree.
But I don't think they're going to be able to beat the Spurs because they're going to get in half-court set. They're going to stop all that.
But are they going to get in the half-court set? This is the part that's a trip.
They won't have a choice.
They continue to run off 115 points a night, 120 points a night.
I don't believe that the best coach in NBA history is going to let James Harden and them run amok like that. And if he does, it'll be James Harden scoring all the points and everybody else being obsolete. Otherwise, you're going to watch the Spurs, even if they go to Game 7, beat the Rockets unless Kawhi Leonard gets hurt.
So you got Greg
Which
Popovich.
is not gonna happen.
No, he's not going to happen.
I got
Kawhi Leonard's almost indestructible. He's like LeBron.
I got Greg Popovich. That's the best coach in NBA history.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who I have as the best coach is Pat Riley. I can't front on Pat Riley. And even though you can't front on really, if you just look at the numbers, you can't front on Red Auerbach because Red Auerbach has about 130 championships with the Celtics. But of the people that I got to watch
of this modern era,
Pop is like, forget about it. Having Pop beat Shaq and Kobe in their prime is amazing.
Yeah.
People really underestimate what that is.
Yeah.
You beat Shaq and Kobe in their prime a couple times.
Right.
And the Lakers had teams with superstars.
Right.
Like multiple superstars.
And he figured it out.
And he figured it out. That's unbelievable. With teams that weren't necessarily like stacked.
Exactly.
With a small, undersized point guard from France and a dude from Argentina.
Right.
And a lefty from Argentina.
And he gave it to him.
And the greatest power forward of all time. So it's like you had one dude, but the other guys were not necessarily a lock like that.
Exactly.
That's impressive. Wow. That's
why I got to roll with Pop also.
In the series.
Just over at the best of all time in coaching because he had the best, but
when did he have the best though? I don't think he had the best.
He knows what Doc Rivers is not doing is what he's done. If he had that same talent that Doc Rivers had,
100%,
he would rip off I don't know how many wins and how many rings.
If he coached that Clippers team, that's a great point. If Greg Popovich coached that Clippers team, I wonder what it would look like.
Discipline.
He's the Belichick of basketball, man. He's the Belichick.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you guys are dropping science here. Dropping science.
He makes the organization believe. He gets the people that he wants, even if they shouldn't. We may think that they shouldn't even be a part of the Spurs.
Yep.
But when they get on that court, they play the right way.
And it's a character profile thing because then you see the guys they get rid of versus the guys they keep. You get rid of George Hill, but you keep a Patty Mills.
Right.
The only one that I've ever been questionable about that he made the swap on was your man. It was Green, because after Green celebrated with the Heat in South Beach after they lost to him, Danny Green, I never forgave him for that. And I couldn't believe that he did that.
Yeah.
But he did win a championship the next year.
If you think about it, if you go all the way back, they lose to Sean Elliott, then they pick somebody up just like that.
Yep.
They lose to Tim Duncan, they pick somebody up just like that. They lose to David Robinson, they groom somebody just like that. So he has the foundation that continues to go, and it's working, and that's why he's in the second round of the finals. Of the playoffs.
Sure is, and that's why he'll probably be in the conference finals, to be honest. And I tell you, so. the other series I think is interesting. I actually think the Wizards can come back and beat the Celtics.
I believe that.
I think the Wizards can beat the Celtics. I think that the matchup that's most dangerous for the Cavs is actually the Wizards and not the Celtics.
I really don't think any one of those teams is going to be able to beat them.
I mean, the guy's been to 6 straight finals. It's hard. It's really hard to argue that LeBron James is going to the finals. That's like, it's almost like they shouldn't even make him play.
Right. Just let him go, man.
They shouldn't even risk the injury.
4 fingers.
They should just give him 4 fingers and give him a free pass to first base.
Just give it to him. Just like in baseball. Just walk him.
Just walk him.
Just go ahead and put him in the finals.
Just put him in the finals, because I don't want to take a chance of him getting hurt or nothing silly like that. And I want to see him match up against whoever comes out of the West.
Exactly.
Well, next victim, appreciate your time. You got any parting words for us? Who do you got this weekend in Chavez Canelo?
Oh, I gotta go with Chavez, man.
Wow, this is I think 3 for 3 going with Chavez.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ellie gave a prediction or not.
No, he didn't.
Oh, he didn't. Wow, Chavez.
Chavez. I think I'm hoping his mind is right, which it looks like it. I think. I want to say Canelo, hopefully he'll overtrain and Chavez just go in there and just put that wild, under control at times fight on him. I really hope so. I think it's time for Canelo. I think he's really good. We all know that, but I think this is that one fight that
he didn't really want. It could be a trap fight. Could be it's a hello, what's up, hello. Could be that trap queen. You never know. All right, next victim. Thanks for calling into the OZone. You are always welcome, my brother. Have yourself a great evening.
Late.
OZone out. I'm out.
Great input there.
Was.
From the next victim.
He's passionate.
He's passionate. And I mean, this pop situation is very interesting. Very, very interesting. Whew, we got so much to cover. Just want to cover this next segment quick. We have one of our favorites calling in about that, too. We got Trucker Dave on the line. Trucker Dave calling in.
Hey, Big O, how's it going?
Welcome home, family.
What up?
How you feeling?
Pretty good. I'm still breathing.
There it is. Waking up on the right side of the dirt is always a good look.
Yeah.
It's always a good look. So we've been covering all kind of stuff. Man, we're deep into the show. We're talking about the state of boxing right now. Had a tremendous heavyweight fight this weekend. I don't know if you caught it. It was like one of the old fights we used to watch. It was great. And we're talking about basketball. You know, I personally feel like they got to bust up this Clippers team because they're underachieving. Got to be some sort of chemistry problem that's not working. And basically penciling LeBron James in for the finals once again. But what we wanted to talk to you about is what took place out in Philadelphia this weekend and figuring out what happened with the NFL draft and how do you think that's going to impact this season in the NFL. I mean, the NFL is a year-round coverage nowadays, and I saw some footage of people at the draft going absolutely nuts.
The draft is like a prom now.
It's like its own Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, the draft is just like a marriage for all of the men. You know, it's just like an annual event. You know, like all of the men, like a little kid in the candy store. They just love the draft. Everybody smiling and taking pictures, booing Drew Pearson, everything you can think of.
So it's like you said, it's like a man crush Monday for everybody in the NFL, and you know, I'm reading a lot of stuff about your favorite squad, the Patriots. I'm reading a lot of great stuff about what it is that Bill Belichick proving he was that he's the smartest man in the room again. What do you think about, in general, the draft? What do you think about Joe Mixon going when he went? Because to me, that's its own saga in itself. It seems to have a lot to do with. I just want to get your take on it, and then I'll go with mine. But yeah, what do you think about the draft and who did what? You seem to be really high on Tampa. What's your take?
Well, I really like what Tampa Bay did. You know, they surrounded Jameis Winston with a lot of young talent because you got to look at it this from an offensive point of view. You got Mike Evans, who's a beast. Pick up Deshaun Jackson, who's like a 4-3 guy. And then you go get O.J. Howard. So who are you going to double? I only worry about Tampa Bay. I just worry about, you know, like solid running back. I think if they would have gone with a guy like Dalvin Cook, that would have been a better choice as, you know, like as far as a solid running back. But I really like what Tampa Bay did. I like what Carolina did. I like how they added McCaffrey for Cam, and they got him another receiver. I really like how the management and the ownership got behind Cam Newton, and, you know, we're going to give him some weapons, and now let's see. Everybody, you know, improved. I really like watching all of the highlights from all of these players you've never even heard of before, you know, the guys that never even went to some of these big schools, and just watching the draft. The draft is so exciting. It's just going to be like, I really think what they should start doing is the winner of the Super Bowl should get to host the draft.
Oh, wow. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, I would like that. But as far as Joe Mixon, he's extremely talented. But what you find out about society is on certain things, society doesn't forgive you. I don't really think society ever really forgave Michael Vick. And
wow.
The thing about Joe Mixon, you never even really see his face. You just see him running around in his uniform. But when you see him like talk at a press conference or something like that, you get to see his face. And I think that can kind of backfire on you because people could look at you now and they could associate the player with his face and say, okay, we automatically don't like this guy.
It's amazing how some things you get a second chance on and some things you don't. I remember reading a couple quotes from Pete Rose who said the same thing when it came to his gambling in baseball. He said a couple things I thought were interesting. One, he said, I never bet the Reds to lose. He said, and secondly, that, you know what, when it comes to this Hall of Fame and me being affiliated with the game, I guess I just picked the wrong vice. You know, I knew a lot of guys that beat up on their wives. I knew a lot of guys that were drug addicts and so on and so forth. And I decided to go into gambling as my vice, and it's unforgivable. And it's interesting that you bring that up. It's a really interesting point.
Well, you know what? And it's just like you always hear people say, "Oh, life isn't fair." But then I started to think about it, and I started to think like, well, whoever said that life had to be fair?
Yeah, that's a full blown assumption. That's just an assumption. Yeah,
it's your own question, you know. But it's a lot of interesting players. I thought Cincinnati did reach at number 9, taking Ross. Ross just made an interesting comment. He just said that he would like to race Usain Bolt, and he said that he could beat him in the 40-yard dash.
Wow, that is a bold statement. And I tell you what, Usain Bolt, the thing that's so beautiful about him is his makeup time, because his like 40 to 100 time, not his 0 to 40 time. That's really smart of that kid. And you know what? We know his reps. I think we can get him on the show. Actually, I know his rep.
Really, get him on there.
Yeah, and, I know.
You know, he's basing that on sports science. He said that sports science says that his feet hit the ground faster than Usain Bolt's.
How tall is he?
He's not that tall.
That's the difference. I think
Bolt, about my height.
Yeah, Bolt makes up the difference in height as well. He's 6'4".
Well, he's 6'5", and the thing is that, but that also those long gallops
galloping,
but it takes him a while to build up that speed like a horse.
Yeah,
as opposed to a kid that's quick. You know what I mean?
Right.
Ross is quick. It's not that he's not fast as well, but he's quick.
But Bolt is fast.
Bolt is like
but he's got
fast.
Even strides.
Yes,
even strides from the start, and
which means that if you want to race for 100 yards, you got problems on your hands.
But I think Bolt can do whatever he needs to do.
I agree. I have no reason to bet against Usain Bolt. Not even a quote old Usain Bolt. Yeah. I've never seen anybody faster than Usain Bolt move in general.
No,
especially on the big stage.
Right.
Turn on the lights. Turn on the lights and see what time it is.
Turns around and looks at you.
and I will walk you. I'll turn in reverse. That's great though.
Yeah, and you see at the end of his career, he doesn't really seem like he's that interested, but he's still faster than everybody else. Just like T used to get off to a slow start, but he had good makeup speed, but he never had like someone that could coach him. I always used to tell him about his strides, you know, getting his hands straight up and just having even stride. But John Ross, or is it? I think his name is David Ross.
No, it's John Ross.
John Ross has
third,
even strides from the start all the way through the finish.
So you got the Bears taking Trubisky, which seems to signal a full divorce from Jay Cutler.
You got that, but the Bears are just a dumpster fire because, like, okay, you got San Francisco sitting at San Francisco was, I think, they traded up to get Trubisky, and they didn't have to. They knew San Francisco wasn't taking a quarterback. You signed Mike Glennon already to 3 years, $45 million, and then you have like a third-round pick, so he has to play pretty soon. So what are you doing giving away picks when you have problems in your secondary? You got problems all over your team, and it just shows you the teams that aren't really good are still the teams that make bad decisions outside of. I like what Cleveland did.
Let's stand in character.
I like what Cleveland did.
It shows you why.
It
shows you why they're not really good, basically.
Right. If you're going to, if you think this guy's a suspect, like they were going back and forth between Miles, and they were going from Miles to Trubisky. Okay, since we're not sure on Trubisky, let's just build up our defense. Let's just, we get this defensive end, and then we get this safety, and then they just keep on, building. Pretty soon, if you keep working on your defense, hey, look at the Ravens at 99.
I think that's what the Browns are going for.
Together.
Yeah,
they got Myles Garrett. I think you're absolutely right. And Hugh Jackson can coach over there. He just needs to get in a good position to coach. So you pick up this kid, Jabril Peppers. You pick up Myles Garrett. Now you're sitting in a position where your defense is starting to shape up, and maybe you don't have to worry about your offense so much. You have a youth movement. Yeah. Hugh Jackson has shown that when he has talent, he can win. I always go back to that season that he had with the Raiders, where he had the Raiders, 6-2 or 7-2, and then the injury bug hit them, and next thing you know, they shipped him out, in my opinion, prematurely as a Raider fan, because he had, he was really doing it with bubble gum and duct tape, and now it's going to be interesting to see, because I would say another year, maybe 2 years. Or depending on, if RG3 can give him anything this year, they might actually be able to make some noise. They just got to shake that stigma.
No, I think they already, cut ties with RG3. But you got Brock Osweiler over there.
Oh, yeah, they picked up Osweiler.
Osweiler. Yeah, if you hold on to him, say, for a year, if you can trade him now. And then you got to remember, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be, he should be a free agent. There's a couple of other quarterbacks coming up in next year's draft. That's why I like what San Francisco did. Because if you don't
San
see a
Francisco
quarterback
came up.
you like, don't make a bad decision.
Don't force the issue on that. Yeah.
Right. To say the winner's in the draft, you never really know until a couple of years down the road. But I really like Solomon Thomas of San Francisco picking up a guy like Solomon Thomas, solid guy. And I like the linebacker they picked up in Alabama. All of these young guys, man, they're so fast and they seem like they're so much stronger than the guys before. And it's, the futures with these young guys, man, somebody's going to become a star.
Somebody's going to become a star. And in that, I really have to think that Cleveland did a really good job. Not to go back to him, but you look at it, you got Osweiler, and if you get the Osweiler that played in that last game of the season, if you can coach that guy to play that game that he played against the Patriots, because I maintain that it wasn't his fault that they lost against the Patriots. That was a much closer game than the final score would indicate. Guys drop passes of his, touchdown passes, and so on and so forth. And you went and you got this kid from Miami, from the U, this David Njoku kid. You got some defense. You can shake that stigma, and you already learned that Cleveland can be a championship town. They were 3 outs away from being a championship town for 2 times last year.
Right.
Believe it or not. So you never know. Well, man. I think you're right. I think it's kind of hard, and this is why I don't put too much emphasis pre-draft. People love it. I don't love it that much because, one, I'd rather actually see what the teams do as opposed to speculating on what they might do. Now we've seen what they've done, and it's exactly what you say. Somebody's going to be a star, and a bunch of guys, I would say upwards of 60 to 70% of the guys won't even still be in the league after a year from now when we have this conversation.
It's true.
Yeah, that's just absolutely how it goes. It's going to be who's going to be this year's Dak Prescott is the question.
There you go.
Who's going to do that? Who is willing to take their talent and to work extra to who wants it that bad? That's what you're going to see. It's probably going to be a no-name guy, never even heard of.
There it is. And it's probably, if history repeats itself, it'll be a no-name guy that a great coach scouted out and found.
Right, and they're going to be like, man, he found him in the late round. And, you never know.
And now he's the Super Bowl MVP, or now he's, he led the league in sacks, so blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's how it goes in sports, man. Who wants it? Just like that young kid that just beat Klitschko. I mean, man, this young guy, man, he wanted it, man.
And he got off the mat.
He earned it.
Yeah,
he earned it. He earned it.
Yeah, but let me go back to the Clippers, man. I mean, I watched the Clippers yesterday, and they just, even coming down the floor, they just look slow. They just look uninterested.
They don't want it. You need a special.
They just don't want it.
Trucker Dave, you need a special kind of player that can play in New York City, that can play in a wonderful city like Los Angeles. You have too many options as a young, wealthy person to distract you from what it is that makes you wealthy.
Right.
That if you don't have the discipline and the desire, like a Kobe Bryant, or like a Shaquille O'Neal, or like a Derek Jeter, like a handful of guys that we look at that say, damn, that dude wants it.
They just stay in the gym.
Like a Patrick Ewing even, I'll say. Yeah. You need to have guys, even like a Dwayne Wade. You need guys who love what they do so much that the trappings of success don't stop them from being successful. And I don't think that the LA Clippers have that team, because something is happening to stop those guys from gelling and making winning more of a priority than how great it is that they live off the court.
I totally agree with you. And you know where that comes from? It comes from inside. If you don't have that inside of you, that's something that nobody can give you. You have to have that drive.
Because look at what the coaches can do. Look at what the coaches can do for guys. Certain coaches can make guys, they can inspire guys to wanna be great. I mean, I understand what you're saying. A guy like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, listen, you need at least one of those guys on your team, and those guys are self-motivated. No one has to tell them. Those are the kids that get keys to the gym from the coach.
Right.
Look at it. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's all I was going to say. Those guys are the guys that are the gym rats, the field rats, whatever you want to call it. Those guys are at work.
And to go back to your point before you close it out, look at how disgusted Larry Bird was and Paul George.
Larry Bird just had to quit. He just had to resign. He was like, these guys, I can't
disgusted on his face.
He's like, I can't with these kids. I can't accept it. Larry, I saw him in the back riding the exercise bike to try to loosen up his back to maybe go out there and shoot some jumpers.
Man, I thought he was about to have a heart attack, man. He just can't take somebody losing. That's what winners are. Winners can't accept losing. It's simple.
They just can't accept it. And most of the time that means that they can't coach.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting.
Can't coach, man. It's really interesting. We could talk all day about it. It's amazing, man. It's really amazing.
It's amazing. Trucker Dave, appreciate your insight. Where in this great country are you now?
I'm in Laredo, Texas.
Yeah.
At least you can grab a big steak.
Everything bigger in
you
Texas.
You can grab a big stick. Yeah, but man.
More importantly, you can grab some cheap gas.
Right.
Because we're dealing with some very expensive gas in the state of California. Trucker Dave, want to say thanks for calling in. Appreciate your insight. And we'll wrap with you soon.
All right. You guys take care.
You too. Be safe.
Trucker Dave.
It's just keep coming.
They just keep coming on the Ozone. And now, oh, man, I wish I had myself a nice, light Gorilla Life to quench my thirst.
Ooh,
I really
revitalize the system.
That's what it is. I've been traveling. I'm a little ran down. I could use some chlorophyll, some water, some agave, also known as Gorilla Life. Go over to GorillaLife.com, folks. Find where you can buy yourself a case of Gorilla Life. It really is life in a bottle. It oxygenates your blood. It helps to fight off obesity, cancers, diabetes, everything that's wrong with you. This stuff can help make it right. You just got to follow the plan. Gorilla Life. Life in a bottle. So, what in the hell is going on with the New York Mets system?
Injuries and more injuries and more injuries. I mean, this is,
and this isn't just the pitchers.
No, it's a walking mass unit. They have a problem. It seems like in their organization, with health. I mean, with their medical team.
What's going on? Now we say Noah Syndergaard has a partial lat tear, which they can't say yes or no that it was precipitated by his bicep injury that he had before.
Which he said that he didn't want to do an MRI. I don't understand how he got the option of saying no. I don't want an MRI when they're paying you so much money to play, or he has the potential to make so much money. I don't know why he wouldn't look out for his arm.
Well, this is the thing. I actually do know why, to a certain degree. I mean, I don't know why he didn't get the MRI, and I didn't know that was the case. But I can understand why a guy like Thor, the guy said, this is why I'm not pitching in the World Baseball Classic. After I win a World Series championship, then we can talk about ancillary playing.
Right.
This guy is serious about his game.
Uh-huh.
And he's mean on the mound.
He is mean.
And
big guy.
And he's not interested in anything except for bringing it on the mound for the New York Mets. And that's with injury, whatever. And he probably thought, you know what, it'll go away. I'll just work through it. And it ended up being a bigger problem.
But what would MRI hurt?
I guess it's time. He's got thunderbolts to throw out. He doesn't have time to play around and get an MRI. But now we've got, I mean, you're talking about the walking wounded. You got Lucas Duda, Yoenis Cespedes. I think Neil Walker's hurt.
Yeah.
You have
Steven Matz,
David Wright, who I personally feel like should probably retire. And now you're talking about, you add Syndergaard to that. Our homeboy, the Dark Knight, hasn't been looking like himself.
No.
Zach Wheeler's just back, and his ball isn't moving like it's supposed to.
Somebody's got to go. We need to do a change over there because all these injuries seem like they could have been prevented. They seem like they're preventable. I know that everybody says that you can get hurt by throwing a baseball at any time, but this is just too many for one squad.
But this is what I'm saying. This is offense and defense. This isn't just from throwing the ball.
This is just too many from one squad. I mean, so what is it that do they incorporate yoga? What's their
seriously?
Yeah, what's going on?
They gave up 23 runs yesterday. Anthony Rendon hit 3 bombs. He put in a month's worth of work in one day.
Right. It's too much. It's terrible. I don't know what's going on in that organization. Could someone from the Mets call us and let us know?
Maybe, but the thing that's a trip is that this happens consistently. If you remember, there was a rash of injuries with I do believe it was with the Yankees a couple years ago with pitchers. It seems like different organizations, depending on their coaching, their strength and conditioning regimens, precipitate certain injuries that seem to pool up.
Right.
And somebody's got to make a change.
Cespedes gets hurt quite often, though. Every year, right? He either has a hammy problem or a quad problem or something like that.
I wonder what that is, because it seems like he puts his body under a lot of torque because he's such a muscular guy. You know what I mean? And when he plays, you can't. There's no doubt about his contribution. And the Mets look really, really good for the first 3 weeks of the season, 2 or 3 weeks of the season.
And now
they're the walking wound. Who knows? I mean, this thing with Thor, I'd be amazed if this thing doesn't take him out for at least a year.
That's what I was saying.
A partially torn lap?
That's serious business, man. The injury looked terrible.
The injury looked really, really bad. And Baltimore's starting to fizzle a little bit because Jack Britton isn't there. I mean, I'm seeing them lose games that they're winning into the late innings.
But I think Jack Britton is coming back this week.
Yeah, he should. He was only on the 10-day DL.
Yeah, I think he's coming back on Tuesday.
But how about them New York Yankees?
They're looking real.
With no Gary Sanchez.
I mean, Gary Sanchez is nice, but when you got Judge, hitting bombs like that, what does he have, 11 now? 10 or 11?
Man, he's doing it. Do you know they say that kid weighs 280 pounds?
I'm not surprised. He looks like a man-child.
He looks like a man-child.
But will he be able to make the adjustments once the league makes adjustments to him?
And this is what it is that we need to figure out with Eric Thames. This is what we need to figure out with a lot of guys that are hot right now.
Well, I think with Eric Thames, I think that he's been around long enough that he'll know how to make the adjustments. And you can see him making adjustments as as the season progressed past this month, because guys are starting to approach him different. You know, he hits lefties better than he hits righties. So that's a big plus. But the younger guys, they don't understand yet because they haven't had a book written on them. When you figure out the flaw or the character or the hole, then they're going to try to exploit it, just like Thames. But it looks like he might have a better handle on it because he played in Korea for a little while.
Give the people one sleeper on your fantasy right now that they can go add that maybe hasn't been added to the league, to a bunch of leagues, because there's a lot of surprises out there. I mean, you called it early about Colorado being real, about Arizona being real.
No.
Wow, you see this Shelby Miller, by the way, is it down now? They're talking about.
No, yeah, he needs Tommy John.
You're talking about he needs Tommy John.
Yeah, and
didn't he already have Tommy John?
You know what? I think he had it in the past.
Yeah, I think he had it early in his career.
Yeah. You're talking about a player.
I'm talking about a player. Doesn't matter whether it's a pitcher or a player.
They're talking about letting Archie Bradley come into the rotation. That'll be big.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Archie Bradley, because he's looking good as a reliever, and it seems like a lot of guys learn a little bit more about hitters when they
have to close.
When they
relieve. Yeah.
And it looks like he's finally figuring it out, because he throws almost 100 miles an hour, and he didn't master the fastball, because what you have to do is to use your fastball to dominate either one side of the plate or the up and the down, and he's starting to figure it out.
Right. Things seemed to go downhill for him when he got hit in the head with that line drive.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that he's bounced back from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, baseball season, we're all in it now. What are the Dodgers going to do? They're going to get it together. I feel like we don't even need to talk about the Giants. The Giants are just falling apart.
Yeah, well, the Dodgers are going to take the Giants' place now, because the Giants, since they've fallen apart, although it's a big game tonight because it's Clayton Kershaw versus Johnny Cueto. But, I mean, the Giants, Madison Bumgarner hurt the squad.
He hurt the team.
I mean, come on, dude.
He hurt the team this time.
Bad.
Mad Bum.
Mad Bum. Come on, man. You hurt the squad. But Colorado is real. Colorado, even though Trevor Story's not hitting, what they do have is they have a bullpen, and they have a back end on their bullpen, which is a problem.
You know who my pick is, and a lot of people may have him, but I think more people don't, is the big fella down in Miami. Is Justin Bour.
Oh, yeah, Justin Bour.
He's starting to swing it now. I actually took in a game this weekend down at the stadium.
Oh, you got in there?
Yeah, and I watched
Did you see Don?
Yeah, I didn't get to see him, but I watched Ivan Nova shut down the Marlins, and Dan Straley actually didn't look bad. But he's
been looking really good this year.
Yeah. But that kid Justin Bour, man, over the next couple of years, he's going to develop into a guy that hits 30 bombs a year at least.
Well, you know what Don's doing with him? Don is letting him go against lefties now, which is big. That gives you confidence.
It sure does. And I mean, you go your whole life playing against guys that throw from both sides of the plate.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you get into pros, and they say, "Oh, well, you know what? You can only hit against righties now."
And then that has to play on you.
That has to play on you, because what you're saying is that I'm not good enough.
That's what you're saying. And then what you see, what's even worse is like when you watch guys who sit out.
Yeah.
You see a lot of guys like Carlos Gonzalez sit out when they play Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
And that's just him. And, it's a day off. Come on, man.
And he's supposed to be like the cream of the crop.
Yeah. Go get carved like everybody else.
Yeah,
or how about you actually just go show him what time it is.
Exactly.
And you give him the Conforto.
Give him the Ted Williams. Ted Williams feel like I'm on offense.
Exactly. I'm the one with the bat.
Yeah, I'm the one with the bat.
No, I'm the one with the bat. Well, you
Pitchers fear me.
Anything else you want to cover? It's been a long edition of the Ozone.
It's been a crazy edition. I think that we've got enough in this time, and give the people a little bit more to want.
I don't even understand what you just said, but
no.
I'm going to leave you with a quote. And it is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. And it is that common sense is genius dressed in its working clothes. It's what I got for you, folks. I am Omar Miller, your host. I'm here with my brother Terry. You can find him at Icons, EYECONZ. This is the Ozone.
Ozone.
Here's a chance to dance our way out of our constriction. Gonna be freaking up and down the hang-up alleyway. With a groove I only got, we shall all be moved. Ready or not.